Hey, listen. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the ChazmaN where, as always, this is your favorite place to hear all of the nerdy Zelda news that's kind of going around. It's going to be a little bit different, kind of similar to some of our previous off-branch episodes, but this is literally just a single reaction to something that happened today. If you don't know, what was it called? It was just a Nomi. How do you say his name?
E.G. Anuma.
Anuma, okay. Yeah. Shoot, I forgot. What's his position in Nintendo? He's like the head of...
He's like the producer of a bunch of Zelda games. If I recall, he did Wind Waker.
Really?
He's done Breath of the Wild. I think he did Twilight Princess. Pretty sure he did
Miyamoto?
maybe Skyward Sword.
Or was he the creator of like the first few?
Yeah, I mean, and Miyamoto is typically, I think, like a creative director, but I mean, the producer has been Aonuma for a while. I'm not sure if he's done all of them up to this point. Well, I know he hasn't done all of them, but he's done a lot of the big ones. Like, I know Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild for sure, and I feel like Twilight Princess. I can check while you're chatting.
No, okay. But yeah, guys, this is just kind of an off-branch thing. I kind of threw it at the guys. Unfortunately, our buddy MetalGamer had an event, it sounded like... But don't fret not, for he will definitely react to it on our next podcast episode. But literally, this is just, I don't know. I thought it might be fun just to kind of watch the event. I haven't actually seen it. I think, Phoenix, you said you've seen it already?
Yes, I did watch it.
Okay. So yeah,
I knew you wanted to do this live reaction.
Yeah, so, I don't know. For me, this is kind of a fresh take. I mean, I guess I kind of know what we're getting into, right? At this point. We know we're seeing some Zelda...
you're gonna see a little bit of Zelda.
You're gonna see a little bit of Zelda.
In fact, I'm even all set up for the festivities. I got my Link hat, so I'm ready to go.
I'm not ready. Sad ChazmaN.
He's not ready.
So even though I'm excited for this game, and I was kind of excited for this presentation, I mean, I guess kind of just to throw it at you real quick. Say you didn't watch it, what exactly would you be looking to have gotten out of this? I mean, I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, well, other than just getting to see more Zelda stuff, you know?
Oh, I mean, I tell you, knowing it was only 10 minutes, I definitely wanted to gauge my expectations, because there's only so much you can do in 10 minutes. So I find it interesting they called it a deep dive, because how deep can you really get in 10 minutes? So, I mean, for what it was, I think it delivers, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. It definitely didn't answer every question I had about the game, not that I think it should have, but... It was fine. I think I probably would have wanted to see more from the world design, which I don't think you get a whole lot of that, but I don't want to spoil it to you just yet.
So well, I just meant from if you hadn't seen it, like what
I would have.
What would you want to build upon with Zelda? I guess just in general. Like I know the dungeons with you because you were.
That's kind of the only thing. I would have wanted to see some kind of hint that dungeons in their true form was kind of returning, and I wouldn't have wanted them to like walk through a dungeon or anything, but some little highlights showing some dungeony like areas that would be a little more akin to what I would be expecting. I think I would have liked to see, but you know,
fair enough. Not quite sure. Again, I like you guys are more of the diehard Zelda fans. I'm more of the off-brand terrible Zelda game kind of fan. I don't know what I would have. Just some cool looking boss battles, I guess. I guess for the most part, I'm trying to think if I didn't like enjoy what were they called? The bosses in Breath of the Wild. They were called.
I don't know about the shrines.
The boss bat. What were they? They were called something.
Oh, the divine
beasts. Yeah.
Well, the divine beasts were the dungeon replacements, and you had what were they called? There was something of chaos because there was basically like Ganon's little smoky monster incarnations, whatever you want to look at them as. So I didn't like those either. I felt like they were too repetitive. But I'm going off on the wrong tangent.
You're good.
You probably shouldn't dig into Breath of the Wild so much.
Oh yeah, fair enough. All right, you're totally right. So what do you say we go ahead and dive in? So I guess me and Phoenix decided that this will be live. This is my a fresh take for me. But I don't know. I guess for anything, Phoenix, feel free to tell me to pause if there's something in particular you wanted to point out or something you feel like people might have missed. I don't know. Probably me. I'm probably the one that would have missed it. All right, so yeah, what do you say? Let's go ahead and join Onuma.
Hello, everyone. I'm EG Aonuma, producer of the Legend of Zelda series. First, I have some news. Development on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is now complete.
Oh, it started.
Thank you very much for waiting.
Production has just started.
Many of you are looking forward to this game, and we've released a few trailers so far. Although it'll just be a brief glimpse, I'm going to actually play the game for you all today and show you what it's like. Okay? Let's begin.
Okay.
Here we are in the land of Hyrule.
He's not actually going to be playing this.
Like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the
I
Wild,
wish.
there's a vast world to explore. Of course, it's not just the same world as is. It's changed in many ways. If we talk about all of the changes today, we'll run out
You
of
can
time,
totally be playing
so
this.
we hope you'll seek them out for yourself when the game launches. In this game, the vast world of Hyrule,
I tell you, I love
reaches high
Link's
into the
luscious
sky.
locks. In,
you'll
in
notice
this
some
one,
landmasses floating up there.
where they bounce
We
while
call
he's
them
riding.
Sky Islands.
Lovely.
You're probably wondering something. How do you get to the Sky Islands when they're so high up?
I'll be honest, this looks
If we take a look,
very Breath of the
something's
Breath of the
falling from
Wild.
sky.
Yeah. I tell you, I think
You
for
see it?
better or for worse,
I wonder what that is.
could turn off some
Let's head
people.
over to it.
I think most people are pretty excited for the game, but I know I saw a few people being like, you know what, the one thing I really don't want this game to be is just more Breath of the Wild, which I think is odd because this is pretty much Breath of the Wild too.
And it was a great game,
yeah,
so...
I think you have people in two different camps. Like, you have people who play through the game once, enjoyed it, and have had a fair amount of time to distance themselves from it, like I have. I only played through it once, and I played through it when it first came out. So I'm ready to hop back into Breath of the Wild, even if it's, like, very, very similar. But then you have people who have played Breath of the Wild, like, ad nauseum for hundreds of hours at this point. So looking at this, just looks like more of the same, at least on the outset. So I can kind of see how that would turn a few people off.
I don't know. We don't want to go too deep, but to be fair, the Breath of the Wild was a very good looking game for the Switch's capability. So it's, I don't know, like you're saying, if they're expanding the world, I guess it's worth a similar look. I don't know. All right, continue.
We're almost at the spot where the
You can
object
climb?
fell.
Oh no. I don't know if I'm surprised, but
Here.
even like the user interface,
Okay,
like
let's
Looks
use
exactly
our
almost
new
identical.
abilities.
like if you took this
Do
screenshot
this on
and you
the
showed
rock
it to
that
me
just
5
fell.
years ago, however long ago Breath of the Wild came out, I would think it's from that game. Like, I don't know if
Look,
that's a bad
it
thing or a
started
good thing
rising.
necessarily, but it is
This power is
very
known as
similar.
recall, which rewinds an object's movement.
Mm,
Since I
recall.
just used recall on the fallen
Rewinds
rock,
an
I
object's
can now rise
movements.
into the sky. We're a lot closer to the Sky Islands.
Yeah, I think that ability is probably going to lead to some
Let's use the
fun,
paraglider to
timey
reach one
kind of
of them.
mechanics. Like, some of my favorite mechanics
a
from
few
like
other
Skyward
Sky
Sword
Islands
were the kind of
floating here, too.
time-based ones when you're like the time dungeon. So I think that could have some fun applications.
I made it. There are lots of ways to reach the Sky Islands, so we hope you'll try a few different methods. Okay, now we're on a slightly bigger Sky Island. Just like on the surface, there are several man-made structures. Some trees
Very
are also
Skyward
growing
Swordy.
here.
Mm-hmm.
You won't see many of those
Did you
yellow
see that
trees on
theory
the surface,
that
though.
I sent you guys the other day?
You sent a video, and I didn't get to watch it now.
So, I mean, I don't know if this is even the time to really go into it, but I thought it was interesting. Like, people were trying to peg, like, where this is, like, in the timeline, 'cause that's always the big thing. And right now you have, was it Skyward Sword is the very first Zelda game, essentially, and then you have Breath of the Wild as the last one. They're arguing that this game bridges the two. Like, the whole game is, or the whole timeline is cyclical. It's like it starts over in a loop. So this actually ends up being the origin of Skyward Sword, which is in the origin of the rest of the timeline, and it just kind of loops and repeats. I don't know. So I thought it was a fun theory. And honestly, looking at how they have these floating sky islands, it looks very Skyward Swordish. Like, even like the layout of some of it looks like what was it called? Skyloft, was that the name of the
I think so.
town? I think it was. Yeah.
One other thing I kind of thought about is I don't know if I'm probably like the last person.
Turn his hat off.
I'm probably the last person getting here with this thought, but like the whole title of the game is Tears of the Kingdom, but like tear, couldn't it be a tear, like Tears of the Kingdom, like isn't Zelda all about like time frame and like and
I mean, not
like, it could be
every
like a
game is
tear,
about time,
you know what I
but a
mean
lot of them
though?
are. Yeah, I mean, It could be. I don't know if I've ever heard
Like a fabric, like tear of like maybe a timeline or something.
I don't know. I get to like a tear in the fabric of time. Like that's a fairly common concept in a lot of either games or movies, and it could be. I'm trying to recall back if I've ever actually heard a Nintendo spokesperson say the name of the game. Like if they've ever said tears or tears. I've never really noted. So that might be an interesting little note.
That's something I thought about because I was like, I don't know. Again, tear and time frame, whatever. All right.
Let's walk around for a bit.
Huh?
Like this looked like the Skyloft section. Like
it does.
I can kind of picture like the town would be, and like there's a tower over to the right. I'm sure it's not exactly that, but got that feel, man.
Since the stream was in 1080,
this is a brand new enemy.
I'm sure I could have found. They probably had a 1440
we'll fight it using the branch we just
one somewhere.
It was in 1080 when I watched it.
Really?
Ah, the branch broke. Not good. Not good. Quick, get another branch, and we defeated it.
So you got these crazy, what are they called? Name. I'm trying to remember what the ancient civilization was in Breath of the Wild that they refer to.
That looks like one of those things that's normally stagnant. It normally stays in a place and like rotates its head. And okay.
Yeah, it's from that whole was it ancient civilization? I'm trying to remember what they were called.
Look, we can stick them together. We
created a
makeshift hammer.
This
is called fuse.
That was like Zo something.
Together to create
Zo 9, that's what it was.
Effects.
You can fuse objects.
Weapon. We're dealing with two of them at once.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. You end up with these really goofy looking weapons though, like a giant rock like super glued to a twig.
Definitely improved. The other branch broke, but this weapon has much better durability.
If you take two rocks and you put them next to each other and you put a stick down.
You use two weapons, for example.
I'm sure Nintendo is not allowing that in their game.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of filters, but it seems like, I don't know, they have a lot of possible options how you can connect things together.
I'm the first person to come up with that idea, I'm sure.
Safely attack from a distance.
You're going to see here, they end up making a watercraft that's kind of akin to your design.
For instance, try fusing this leaf to an arrow.
Try fusing this.
I thought this was cool.
What?
That you could fuse it to like your arrows.
Fuse elemental material to an arrow, and you can freeze faraway enemies.
Ah, that's cool.
Very useful.
Huh.
In addition, let's see. Ah, there's a bird flying around. If you're out hunting, you might feel
it is comforting, assuming that this is running on actual Switch hardware, that it looks like it runs relatively well. You know, considering that Breath of the Wild already struggled every once in a while on the Switch as it was. I mean, I was certainly concerned about performance. I mean, the game still looks relatively decent. Hopefully, it's running at a good frame rate, so it's good to see.
Keys eyeball.
Look,
oh, that was
homed in on the target.
Use like a little homing arrow.
Let's try this on another bird. I'll just fire in that general direction. It's very simple. Depending on what you stick
I feel bad because Anuma's like, yeah, I can't, my eyes can't track things very well anymore. I'm just like, oh. So he has to use the eyeball arrows.
A mushroom to my shield. Now, you're probably wondering if this has any use. Well, this mushroom is actually a puff shroom.
A puff shroom.
Let's fight an enemy with this. I blocked with the shield. Okay, there's smoke now. The enemy's lost sight of Link, so attack.
How diverse is it though? Is it like anything you pick? It seems like it.
I would imagine like they probably spent a lot of time going through all the combinations of things you could attach and whatnot, and they probably have it.
See, this is at least like
could turn it into a useful weapon.
This is at least what I like. I would appreciate about like, not to throw too much praise at Nintendo, but at least like if you're not gonna do full upgrade the visuals or whatever, but like it seems like they're throwing in a bunch of stuff that like takes time to come up with. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I think what I like about it, because Breath of the Wild was really like the first Zelda game that was really built like a sandbox kind of environment where you can kind of just like play with all the different components and do some crazy stuff, like the fact that you could, climb everything and fly and jump off certain structures and fly across the area and use like the was it the physics thing to like build up a whole bunch of energy, jump on a rock, and then have it fly.
Yeah.
Like they give you these cool systems to kind of play with, so it's nice that this is kind of a natural extension.
Building upon,
yeah, they're building out the sandbox a little bit more, which is nice. So I'm sure the capabilities and functionality you can do is going to be a lot more in depth.
Well, that's what I meant by like, at least it seems as though they put a bunch of time and effort into like doing this, and it's not just like, most of the time a game that like looks so similar, I don't know, it kind of feels like a cash grab. I mean, this at least feels like there's a lot of time and effort put into it. Juices Phillips, the Cartoon King in chat, says, "Bonjour, guys. What's going on?"
Bonjour. Hola.
Thanks for joining. But yeah, we'll continue on.
Even more gameplay options for sticking things together. Let me demonstrate. Some of the Sky Islands even have rivers. We'll want to cross this one, but
the water looks pretty good. I don't remember if the water in the first game looked that good.
Wide for that.
I don't remember water at all. Although I do remember, no, there was a water area.
Of course, there isn't anything that resembles a boat around here.
I'm assuming it looks pretty similar.
So,
but...
we'll lift up this log and attach it to a second log.
Like, even like thinking back to like the jump between Ocarina and Majora, like even at least with Majora, it's just, like, I think I've never played it, but for the most part, from what I understand, it's like a totally drastically different feeling game. Like, it looks similar, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a totally different styled game.
Let's modify the shape.
Yeah, Majora's Mask was interesting because they came with a very short time frame to make a whole new Zelda game, so they decided we're just going to reuse pretty much all the same assets from Ocarina and just structure it around a whole new kind of game game style. So this, I don't know if it's going to be that necessarily. I don't know. I'm a little sad it doesn't look a little different, but at the same time, I might.
However,
so you can like almost customize your own boat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh wow! Sorry to cut you off.
No, I don't even remember what I was saying. I think I was just saying, like, I do wish it did look a little more sequel-ish. I don't know.
It's blowing wind.
But at the same time, I like that it's consistent with the old style. So I mean, I wouldn't want them to go too far off, the beaten path with the whole new game, like artistic style or anything.
Now two at
Here's where they go after
the base.
Your design.
We'll attach another one. This should make the boat well balanced.
I definitely think this is cool. I'm really curious how they're going to incorporate it into, like, hopefully good dungeons and puzzle elements. Because it can't just be this is, what they have out in the world. Like, they got to incorporate this at some fundamental level into the puzzle design and all of that. So,
since we added 2 fans, we should be able to cross the river in no time.
I guess the one thing that would concern me about, then you kind of saw this with the first Breath of the Wild too, because the sandbox is so kind of open, you kind of sometimes end up breaking the intended path or intended solution on how to complete something. You kind of brute force it using these powers and whatnot. So I'm curious if that's going to break certain game design portions that they kind of have set up. If they want to have like a very curated level, but you can build some crazy ship and bypass half of it, like. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know, but I think it's something to think about.
Yeah, I don't even know what the intended like direction to start off with, what the intended pathway was in Breath of the Wild, to be honest. Cause
I guess like my rationale for that, or kind of the example, and you look at from the speed running community, like they got to the point where off the Great Plateau, they were able to basically propel themselves all the way to Hyrule Castle and skip everything. Now, that's really cool. I mean, in one aspect, I applaud Nintendo for giving you the possibility to do that. I don't know, but sometimes then you miss out on stuff. But that's then on you for missing out on stuff? I don't know. And that's an extreme example, because that's the speedrunning community very much trying to find the most efficient path. But I remember I kind of did that when I was going through the game. I almost never went into the castle. The final boss, after I'd done all the Divine Beasts, I jumped off the highest mountain, glided almost to the very top of the castle, and just walked in the back door. So I missed like 90% of that dungeon. Now, I don't know if that was good or bad or somewhere in between, but I feel like these gameplay elements are definitely going to, if anything, just encourage that, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I just think, interesting conversation. I'm curious if their game design will hold up well enough to that.
Well, typically I would say, I asking you, but I think for the most part, every single Zelda game follows a similar path, right? It generally is you each item you specifically get allows you a different form of like transport. It's like if you get these heavy boots, they help you walk through heavy winds into a cave, and then if you get something that helps you walk on sand, you know what I mean. So that's typically how they kind of guide you down a path. Things.
Yeah. And Breath of the Wild broke that. Like, you could pretty much go anywhere and do anything. Which, once again, I applaud Nintendo for going that direction. I definitely like the open-ended nature of it. There's a ceiling on it at some point where they give you too much, and then you can break the game. But some people like to break the game. So, as I said, I'm not saying if this is good or bad. It's just something to kind of think about. I'm curious how many people are going to go that route. But, I mean, these guys, are not exactly novices when it comes to the game design department, so I'm sure they've thought that out, and they're going to have things curated a certain way. Just something I thought about.
They're up-and-coming, scrappy...
Indie developer. Was it Ninetiny? I don't know.
Ninetiny. All right. All right, Numa.
And depending on how you use your imagination...
4 minutes. It's such a short video.
So, try
like it ended far sooner than I thought. Like I didn't feel like it had already gone 10 minutes.
There are even more new abilities. Take this building over here. Okay, watch this. Look, I passed right through the ceiling. This was the
weirdest thing.
This new ability is called
I think it's really cool, but it's weird.
If you're in a place with a ceiling, you can go through...
You have crazy fusion abilities? Couldn't you, like,
the floor above you,
accidentally get yourself stuck in a wall or something?
There are some
I just see this glitching out in so many hilarious ways. Like,
you fuse yourself with one of the goblins or something?
Like, I just see people trying to do some weird nonsense with this power and literally getting stuck in a mountain and, like, bricking their game or soft locking it somehow. So, once again, I'm sure they have tested it and come across solutions for it, but...
It's
kind of wild.
Whoa.
Keep going.
It's like the large spaces you actually kind of like swim through.
Huh.
It's neat. And I will say, like, I remember in the first game, although climbing was great, they could climb anywhere, like, it definitely got tedious. So if this adds, a shortcut to that, I'm curious if there's some kind of limitation. He mentioned there were some kind of restrictions, but I'm curious, like, what those are. Like, could that really go through, like, a 1,000-foot mountain if you have a cave at the bottom of it, or is that some kind of limitation? I don't know.
Some enemies are equipped with fused weapons, so battles will play out a bit differently from the previous game.
Kind of get spanked.
It blew me away with wind. Looks like it's got some sort of fan.
Oh, it's got a fan.
I got pushed off. Well, let's just return to the surface.
Yeah, this is very Skyward Sword-y.
Descend from the sky to
that is kind of cool how you can just be like, oh well.
It feels so good.
I'll just fly.
In the sky, you'll be able to look out across the land.
So is it the same map, I'm assuming, probably?
Search for destinations that pique your interest.
At first I was like, oh, that kind of stinks. But then you're like, it's always Hyrule, right? I mean, not always, but most of the time it's Hyrule. And then they just,
is he gonna superhero land?
See, that would kill him. When you hit water at that level, it's like hitting concrete.
There are still so many things I'd like to show you, but let's leave it at that for now.
I just noticed that bird carrion. Is that a
goblin
over there?
Yeah.
Some of Link's new abilities were updated from the previous game.
Seems new.
I'm sure some of you watching me play were thinking, wait, if you could do that, then maybe you could do this too. In this game, you can do a lot of things just by thinking about what's even possible.
You can do a lot of things.
There's still a lot of new gameplay, mysteries, and encounters we couldn't show today, but they're all jam-packed into this unfamiliar Hyrule, and we hope you'll use
This is so weird they made this its own video stream.
That's all for today.
Like, I would assume this
It wasn't even a stream. It just
a video? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like at noon, the whole video was just bam, there it is. Or not noon, whatever time it released, I don't remember now. I think it was like 10 Eastern time. But very short. It felt shorter than 10 minutes. I mean, they showed some cool things, but I don't know, I would want to see a little more, as I'm sure others do, but it's starting to hype a little bit.
One bajillion.
Rest of your money.
$1 bajillion.
So pretty. Like it looks good. I like the dock actually.
I don't know if I like that color scheme.
I mean the Joy-Cons or whatever.
Ooh, I
really
like the dock. The dock looks cool.
And with the controllers, I mean, it all works. I mean, I like the look of it. I'm not gonna go buy this thing though. Like,
what?
I mean, if you don't have a Switch,
Oh, that's probably awesome to buy. Yeah.
Or if I guess if you really want to upgrade to the OLED, but man, I am very much in the camp, especially with the way the OLED is kind of set up. It is, I mean, it's an upgrade, but not really. You know, like all it does is give you a better screen and what is a better battery life or something like that. But the performance is identical.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good enough for me. Like I'm ready for Switch 2, whatever they want to call it. So I feel like this is just kind of a, stopgap. So if you're a collector, sure. Or if you need a Switch, sure.
That is true. Did it say if this one was OLED or if it was the normal one?
Oh, it's the OLED. You can tell from the dock, like it's curved and it's following the same design as the OLED. I mean, if it wasn't, I think that would be horrible. But it looks like the OLED kind of style dock. Yeah, good looking console.
Oh, it does say OLED model. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, are you at all interested?
I am, but there's a chance I might be out of a job within the next week or so. So.
Oh no.
We'll see.
Oh my goodness.
Rumors my work might be laying off soon. So.
Oh well, this YouTube thing better pick up quick, man. You better start getting those Dragon Ball videos going. Stop streaming the Zelda nonsense.
I've got money saved up. I mean, obviously, I would immediately look into other work, but if it does happen, you guys are going to be getting a crap ton of videos.
Fair enough. All right, so no OLED in your future,
yeah, I'm probably gonna wait and see, but it does look pretty.
That's fair.
That's right around the corner too. It's only a month away.
Yeah, this is gonna come up quick. Yeah, that's a month from now, and the game is what was the game? It was like May. It just showed. It's like first week of May, second week of May.
Let's take a look. May 12th.
Yeah, so second week. That'll be here quick. Man, there's a lot of games coming out. What's coming out the end of April?
I think May is brutal. May has like 4 games I want to play. This is obviously one of them.
Redfall was end of April. So you got Redfall, and then you got this.
Oh man, I have to look it up. There's a ton of games coming out then.
Spider-Man apparently is coming out September. So like you're gonna have like game leading up until holiday. Which hey, I'm not gonna complain.
Let me take a look. Let's see. So. Oh, Suicide Squad, but that got pushed back, I think.
Yeah, that's not officially on the docket.
And Lord of the Rings at the end of the month too. That Gollum game.
Yeah, that looks rough. That can be a conversation for another time.
So I guess Redfall and Zelda are the only things I want to really play. I'm kind of interested in Gollum, but that's one I'm gonna wait. I'll definitely wait on. But all right, well, I don't know. That was kind of that. I thought it might be kind of fun. I didn't get to watch it, so.
So was that enough of a tidbit for you to excite you for the game, or are you kind of same excitement level that you were?
That definitely did a little bit of something for me. It had stuff I didn't know was gonna be there. Like I had no idea about all this fusion kind of stuff. I definitely think that's gonna bring, like you said, a lot of I don't know, sandbox creativity there, and I don't know. That's some of the stuff I liked in the original game. I liked a lot of the cooking and all of that stuff.
I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not disappointed with what they show. I think it's really cool.
I don't know
if it's something. Yeah, what they showed, I don't think really speaks to how I'm going to play the game. And I mean, I do like to mess around with those systems a little bit, but I'll tell you, I was not one who played the first game for hundreds of hours, messing around with the systems, trying to do crazy stuff. Like I spent a little bit of time doing that, and then I was done. So I'm sure I'll spend some time putzing around and making a weird, awkwardly shaped spaceship. I don't know. But after that, I don't know if this system's gonna be what keeps me playing the game. Maybe depending how core to the experience it is, maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, it still just looks like more Breath of the Wild, for better or for worse. I mean, the sky lofty stuff is interesting, but even that they didn't show much of that you already know about. There were going to be,
My thing is after thinking about it, like, I kind of hope the narrative is better, because I was just thinking on like the narrative from Breath of the Wild, and I don't remember the plot really solidly. It was a Zelda kidnapped again by Ganon, or Ghost Ganon, or Spirit Ganon, or whatever, and
Calamity Ganon.
You just have to defeat the evil Ganon inside of the 4 beasts, and that gives you access to the main building, and that was kind of...
And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, like the way that you could do whatever you want. There is actually a fair amount of narrative in the game if you go out and find it. Like, you have the flashback memories, and if you spend time with all the little side characters, they explain stuff. So there's actually a pretty big story there.
Maybe I just didn't experience enough.
Yeah, it's easy to skip. Like, if you don't go back and you find, like, you have to find, like, the memories where there's, like, the pictures or landscape, and, like, that would fill in stuff. But it was done in very kind of piecemeally environmental kind of storytelling, which I typically like. I wasn't overly disappointed with the narrative. Like, I think there was enough there for me. And I'm assuming this will probably be similar style. I guess I just still don't know what is kind of staying the same from Breath of the Wild and what's changing. Like, for all we know, even though they've shown us a few new things, it could still be the exact same game structure. We could still have shrines. Shrines are going to be the main way to kind of, earn upgrade points, maybe. Maybe it still only has, like, 3 very generic dungeons. I mean, I guess that's what I'm still wanting to know is, like, what is... I don't want to say world design. Maybe that's it. But kind of the flow of the game systems. I don't know. I'm probably not quite explaining that the correct way, but...
Also, like, is the... Because I remember a complaint we had that we talked about on some previous episode is that also the kind of the Breath of the Wild, the world itself, wasn't that super memorable. There were, like, the Twin Peaks, and there's the Labyrinth. Like, there wasn't, like, a heck of a whole lot that, like, really stuck out in terms of the world pieces.
I
mean, this is going to have the same world, so I'm assuming there could be a heck of a whole lot extra.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth on how I feel about the design, because when I really sit down and think about it, there are things I do remember. Like, I remember a lot with the desert area and some of the, like, hidden stuff over there, and then you had, like, the ninja camp, and then they had different little segments, so it's not like it was a barren world, but it was a very big world, and there was a lot of open space, for better or for worse. Of course, when you can traverse it a little more quickly, which it seems like in this game we'll be able to, that becomes less of an issue, because it kind of, in essence, kind of shrinks the world down a little bit, so it's okay if things are spaced out. I don't know. I mean, I do look back and I remember a few things about the world fondly. We could climb up and find those dragons. I thought most of those hunts were pretty cool.
I don't think I... Oh, no, I did do one of those. I think I did do one, yeah.
Breath of the Wild is very much a game you got more out of it based upon what you put into it. If you just kind of ran through it, you got a pretty surface level experience.
I think that's what I did. If you really took the time,
if you take the time to dig through it, there's a lot there. I basically, if I recall, did a whole lap around the map and tried to be fairly, how do I want to say this? I tried to go through most of the stuff I saw. I didn't just run through it.
I guess.
Yeah, but I wasn't super in depth either. So there's plenty of stuff I know I missed, but I felt satisfied enough. I'm sure I probably put 50, 60 hours into the game, I'm sure, maybe a little more than that. But I don't know. I am cautiously optimistic. Well, I'm not going to say cautiously. I'm optimistic about this game.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
I still don't have that confirmation, though, this is going to be what I'm hoping it's going to be just yet, though, which is really what it was with good dungeons. So until I get that little tidbit that, okay, they're going to have some real, true Zelda-like dungeons, I'm still kind of like, well, we'll see how it goes.
Juices Phillips in chat says doing good. I had a peaceful day. Awesome. Thanks. Same here. I guess my final kind of thought question is I was thinking about maybe in April or something, maybe doing a stream of Breath of the Wild, but something I was thinking about is, do you think because it's in terms of like maybe some design and some graphical, it's not a huge generational leap above that game. Do you think it would actually be better to have a long period of time in between playing the two? Maybe it would, because maybe replaying Breath of the Wild and going immediately into this like a short month after, you would get burnt out. Yeah, it wouldn't feel as much of a leap between Breath of the Wild and that game.
Which, I mean, I think could be an interesting perspective too. Like, I'm coming out, like, I haven't played it since it first came out. Like, I beat the whole game in the first week or two that it was out. Have not touched it since. So I'm going to feel pretty fresh coming into this, and even like old systems that may already have been in the game, I probably already forgot about them, and they're going to feel new when I hop into the new one. But if you come in, you're right, I've just played the game, or you've played a lot of it before, I'm sure those systems are going to feel kind of antiquated. I mean, maybe they're just so core to the experience you don't really think about it, but I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird camp there because I honestly would kind of like your opinion based upon that, like running through it, playing it, and then having a really fresh take on how different is this. But I'm a little hesitant because I think it might neuter your
That's what
enjoyment of the new game.
That's what I was thinking.
I think it also depends on how long or how in-depth of a run-through you do. Like, if you just kind of go through, hit the high marks, and beat the game in, like, 30 hours or less, maybe that's fine. If you try to go through and do at least even partially thorough run-through, that's a good 60 hours probably. And that's a lot of time to spend on that game and then jump right into another 60. So it's up to you. I think you'll enjoy the second game maybe a little less, especially knowing you're not the biggest Zelda guy. You're already a little critical of certain things anyway about it. So I don't think you'll let certain things slide like other people were like, I'll just accept it, be like, it's just Zelda. You might be like, well, that's stupid. So
I think it's like, I think it could affect my like for the next game, but I think it, like you're saying, it might be a good it sounds like a fun study, I guess, between the two games in my head. Like, I don't know. I think that perspective might be kind of interesting for some of our podcast oriented stuff.
I kind of agree because I foresee people who are like going to be reviewing the game are going to come at it super positive, partially because they haven't played it in so long. I'm sure you'll get a few reviews that were diehard Breath of the Wild fans, played it for hundreds of hours, but odds are they haven't played it even recently for 100 of hours. Maybe like the first couple of years the game was out, they put a crap load of time into it. But they've, I'm sure, had time to kind of rest, let the old mechanics kind of, waft out of their mind a little bit, so this new game is going to have some freshness to it. But, yeah, I think reviewers that are coming into this maybe have played a lot of it recently or just ran through the game again. I'm curious if they're going to have nearly as favorable of an opinion, because I'm looking at this game, same as you are, and it looks like Breath of the Wild. The core system, the fusion's neat, it's still the same type of weapon system. You still have the weapon durability issue that people didn't always love, because you saw your weapons still break. You still have the stamina meter. It's going to work the same way. You still have to climb in a lot of areas to kind of get to where you want to be at. Granted, they've added systems to kind of, bypass it, but there's a lot of OG Breath of the Wild here, for better or for worse.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. There's a chance I think I might want to replay it, because I don't know. It sounds kind of fun just to have that updated opinion. You guys can most definitely expect on the next podcast episode. I'm definitely going to add this to our speedrun topic. I feel like our opinion's going to be out there, but we can let our buddy MetalGamer kind of give his opinion on the game. So yeah, I don't know. What about you? You excited for it? I know you.
I'm still excited. I said I'm probably more excited just because I haven't played it in so long. So I'm looking forward to hop back in. It's been long enough. So even if it is very Breath of the Wild-y,
how long has it been since you played a Zelda game?
I told you, I played it when it first came out.
No, any Zelda game, I mean.
Oh, I just ran through, Skyward Sword, and it was re-released.
Oh, I forgot. You played that at the same time I did. Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's any releases for Zelda that I've missed. Not in a while.
I replayed through Awakening around that time. That was before Skyward Sword, right?
So I didn't finish Link's Awakening. I got like halfway through it and just kind of fell off it for whatever reason. So I typically prefer the 3D Zeldas. I know plenty of people still love 2D, and that's their their go-to. But I like 3D a little bit better. But yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, that was that event. I thought it was short, but hey, I don't know. I wanted to cover it, and luckily Phoenix had nothing going on. It sounds like was willing to join. So I don't know, Phoenix. You got anything to say before we head out?
No, I think that was it. I'm excited mostly, but we'll see. I hope they still. I'm sure they'll do more, but we need more at this point. Although I'm sure even if they didn't say anything else about this game, it's still going to sell a gajillion copies. So maybe they don't care. I don't know. Maybe they'll just rake all the money up, even not if they don't have to put any extra effort into it. We'll see.
Cool. Yeah. As always, guys, down in the comments below, feel free to let us know any of your opinions. We'd love to hear from you, interact with you. Got the social medias on the front on there. You got the other podcast locations. Check those out. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. We love you, and we can't wait to see you on the next one. So I don't know. Bye, everyone.
Bye.